Today's guest brings energy, creativity, grit, and one unforgettable brand story. Erica Deuschle is the managing partner of KW Main Line and the powerhouse behind Trust the Pineapple, a brand, a vibe, and a story that people love. I was introduced to Erica by my amazing sister who told me, "You two have to meet, you'll hit it off instantly." And she was right. Erica has this incredible combination of authenticity, discipline, resilience, and fun. And her personal path to where she is today is full of grit, twists, courage, and heart. Erica, I am so excited that you're here.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
That's so nice.
I'm so excited for you to be here
Don't
today.
Don't get me emotional right in the beginning, you know?
We like to pack a punch early.
Really, yes.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. And,
Thank you.
You know, before we get started, I feel like you have a background where maybe this isn't such a crazy space for you to be, right?
I do.
A broadcasting degree?
Broadcast degree. Some really fun internships, one of which was at the Howard Stern Show at K-Rock.
Oh, wow. So you could be giving me tips here today.
Always thought that's where I'd end up, was New York City on the radio. So yes, this is pretty comfortable for the most part.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Well, you know, you can give me pointers as we go, so I'm open to everything. I would love to go a little bit into one of the things that really stood out to me as I was having met you and talked to you a little bit is the story behind your business. Mm-hmm. And I think if we start with the name, then we're going to learn a whole lot about your journey to there.
Sure.
And that's this Trust the Pineapple. What is Trust the Pineapple and what does it mean?
So first and foremost, a pineapple is a sign of welcome or a sign of hospitality. So for me, you know, being in the real estate business as a solo agent years ago, I've been in about 18, was by myself for a long time. I always had a pineapple as my, like in my, you know, a logo, just in my signature on an email. The reason why I chose the pineapple is growing up, you know, my parents didn't have much, essentially, financially. We had everything we needed. They always had the most beautiful home. So whether, you know, they were having a large party or, you know, hosting holidays, they were always bringing people into their space. And that's, I think, what they were most proud of and what they worked so hard for, obviously, to take care of us and provide for us, but also to open up what they did have to everyone else. And the silliest little thing was every year at Christmas, my dad would make this, a wooden board. It's like a thing. And you get a wooden board and you put all of this fresh fruit above your front door. Oh. And right smack dab in the middle was a fresh pineapple.
Whoa, okay. I didn't realize it was like fresh fruit was
fresh
the whole,
fruit, yes.
whole thing. Oh, this is so cool. Do you keep this tradition going?
No, I don't. I do a lot of other things that my mom and dad taught me how to do, but no, not that one. But it was like a labor of love. It was a board that my dad built, you know, and every year the fresh fruit would go on, it would go above the door, and then it would come down. For whatever reason, the pineapple for me, and this is before pineapples were popular, I feel like Charleston and where else down south? Charleston, Savannah.
Yes.
Very like pineapple centric now, right? Everyone loves pineapples because of these destinations. But this was, you know, my pineapple affair was long before they became popular.
So translate that then into your website, which is literally Trust the Pineapple.
Yeah.
And your sort of, you know, branding that you've done and your business. Tell me a little bit about your business and you know, how that led you into there.
The brand essentially was, you know, it was me, and then I hired my husband in 2015, and then we grew this team of 15 agents, 3 administrators. But in building the team, the brand grew. Trust the Pineapple is really a play off of Trust the Process, the Sixers. Right?
Ah, okay.
So we had quite a few people. The first person to say it was our friend Scott. He's like, Trust the Pineapple. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's great. But then other people started saying it because it was at that same time of Trust the Process. So in building the team and then using it as a tagline, it kind of just grew. So
fun.
You know, it's fun.
Well, and it weaves so well into some things that I think you take very seriously in your business is that this idea around buying a home. It's one of the most important things that people do. And
Absolutely.
I really took notice of your care and commitment to helping people through that process.
Sure.
Trust the Pineapple.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about your approach to that and why you think you're so successful. I mean, I think I have it in here, my notes here. ranked number 3 in the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, and this is rapid growth, right? I mean, or
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I would say we went, for perspective, I think when I was solo, I was maybe doing 20, 25 million on my own, brought my husband on. We kind of started growing a small team. We transitioned our business from another brokerage, Berkshire Hathaway, in 2021. So in 2020, I was the number 20 realtor in the country with Berkshire Hathaway, a pretty well, recognized Warren Buffett brand. Made the jump to Keller Williams for a lot of different reasons, just industry changes and wanting to be a little more cutting edge. But we're now, close to a $250 million a year business as a whole, which is awesome.
it's amazing.
But hospitality for me and just opening up kind of who I am personally and where I came from, I think is one of the reasons why I'm successful, is because I am like an open book. Early on in my career, I have 3 children, but when I was really getting this going, I had 2 little boys.
That can be a handful.
It was a lot of, I always say it's like not a struggle, it's a juggle. But like I would have clients come to our house and sit at our dining room table, and my kids would come down and like kiss me before they went to bed. But I think opening myself up in that way to my clientele probably differentiated me a bit when they were referring me maybe to their family or friends. It was different, like, hey, you should really call our realtor. And I think it became more like, you should really call Erica, our friend Erica,
Yep.
So that's always been really, really important to me, is my heart is into everything that I touch and everything I do. But also anyone that I've ever brought on my team has that same sentiment and passion and kindness.
You're really, really intentional about building that culture with your team.
Very much so. Not always easy. Some ups and downs, but overall, we've been so blessed with picking the right people that just jive with what our goal is.
Do you, when you're looking for the right people, you put that idea of what kind of people you're looking for? I mean, something I thought that you told me was just profound was that it's not about the commissions, it's about the match for the people and that experience that they're having. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think in any sales business, when you strip back layers of an onion, what I always tell my people, first and foremost, is you either have it or you don't for a sales position. Like I can talk to somebody for 5 minutes, maybe 5 seconds, and be like, they have it or they don't. Meaning they have something within them that they're going to be able to give so much of them, not in a salesy way though, in a giving, loving, compassionate, in a listening way, right? So I would say that's the key, is bringing on people that have that. As soon as you start thinking about a commission you're going to make when it comes to a sale, like we're not even having that conversation. When you start thinking about commission, you're not essentially putting your client's best interest first, and you have to.
Yeah.
People are very smart. They can see right through something that's maybe not authentic. But luckily, everyone I've ever brought on, had that authenticity, and people usually come and stay for a very, very long time, which I'm proud of.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I think you come across super authentic as well, and I'm not surprised that is where you're coming from. And
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I appreciate even in our business, culture is so important, and investing in your people and helping them grow. And
I love your business.
Oh.
I'm like so dumbfounded by the whole thing.
It's fun.
Everything you guys do, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well,
It's beautiful.
It's an honor, right, to be able to lead people and to be able to steward that.
Yes.
I view it a bit of stewardship, which I think we share that as well. It doesn't come without it's just
gratitude.
struggles.
Gratitude. When you live your life and you run a business with a grateful heart from where you came from, I think that's where it all stems from, is just gratitude.
Yes, very well said. So you talked a little bit, you mentioned this just a few moments ago, not the struggle, but a juggle. Did I say that right? Tell me a little bit about what that is, because I think it's a great mantra.
I think at first in my career, I was struggling because, my husband and I were just starting out, and we had these little babies and a mortgage, and getting into the real estate business is really tough when you don't have a cushion.
Yeah, because I think it's important for everybody listening. Like, you created this whole business and all this success, but you bootstrapped this. This
had
is not
absolutely nothing.
Yes.
I mean, we went, good 6 months with charging our groceries on a credit card with a 4-month-old baby.
stressful.
Very, very stressful. But I was blessed enough to have a good partner. Some people get into this and they do it without a partner and they do it all on their own. So I have to give, credit where credit is due. And I have wonderful parents that I still am blessed to have. At the time, I had grandparents that were rooting me on, 2 brothers and sister-in-laws. And so I had a lot of people in my corner, but it didn't really make it much easier. But I think, you start out with like a certain kind of struggle, right? Because you just want to make it in the business. And I always say, just don't quit. If you don't quit, you will make it in the business.
Love that. That's
if you want it bad enough.
Keep going. It's just despite obstacles.
Lots of tears, lots of wondering, why am I doing this? Or should I go in another direction? Or should I get a part-time job? So it was that struggle at first to kind of make it. Then you almost have a struggle once you make it enough to where you can breathe and you're paying your bills, right? You almost start to feel resentful sometimes when you're working so hard in a client-based industry, customer-based, right? I'm working when my clients aren't. I'm working on nights and weekends, right?
Yes,
I'm
right?
working when I want to be tucking my babies into bed. I'm having to wait for the couple to put their baby to bed together, right? Because you can't just talk to one. If they're millennials, you're not talking to one. You're talking to both. And these are things that I've had to adjust to, but I'm talking to them once they're good, but then I'm so you go through a little bit of a struggle then with kind of that balance. But what I've learned over time is you have to find, again, that gratitude for everything that you have, the peace within yourself, the comfort that you've been able to build with the success. You take a deep breath and you just keep doing what you got to do to service the client. We have our place in Ocean City, as you know, and we've had one there for a decade, which is a blessing. People always say, "Oh, are you working down there?" Well, I'm licensed down there. I have amazing team members that service down there every day. They're phenomenal. For me, I'm working down there for PA. Like, you'll never catch me sitting on the beach without being on the phone or negotiating or answering a question. But again, it's just a juggle. It's just become part of my life. You no longer have a chip on your shoulder. You take a deep breath and you realize, like, the reason why you're so blessed is because you found a place to make it all kind of jive together.
Well, I feel like gratitude brings more gratitude, more abundance. Like, if you can get into that space of being grateful, it really is a mindset that
it's a mindset. You're exactly right. Totally a mindset. Because it's easy to kind of like veer off and
definitely
feel sorry for yourself, but you don't, right?
Yes, and as business owner, and sometimes you have to step up and do these hard things, and like I said, do the juggle. It's especially in your industry for sure. I so appreciate that. So, do you have any practices, anything you do to help? Like, how do you put boundaries around that so that you can protect? Because you're high energy, I can tell, and
yes,
and What do you do? You have your like life resets?
It's so funny that you say that. I'm in like a bad way right now.
Oh,
no, call a bad way.
Okay.
I always say, like, I'm either in a good way or a bad way. I'm in a bad way right now because I'm not getting up and like walking my dog the 4 miles a morning that I used to do and I should be doing because it's so good for my mental health. And it's like the best way to start my day. We moved this year. We bought a big old fixer-upper in May. So that's been my outlet. I always have to have something that I'm working on, which drives my husband crazy, and I'm sure it exhausts everyone around me. But like, I always need another big thing.
Yep.
So I'm buying an investment and renovating that. I'm doing this or throwing a huge fundraiser for 300 people, whatever it looks like. My brain always has to have that extra.
You're a creatrix. Do you
I am.
Hey, it takes one to know
right,
one. Okay?
Exactly.
Wait, there's a point. I don't know if you feel this. There's a point where that brings you such joy that it doesn't actually. I don't think people understand it. It's not work.
No.
It just happens to be.
It's therapy.
Yes.
Sick, crazy.
Yes. And then as soon as it shifts and it starts to feel like work, then you know, like it's time to either let it go
Yep,
or move on or do whatever. So I totally appreciate
No,
that.
so I'm in a bad way right now because I've been the project managing this huge reno of this house. Worked on it all summer when my family was not here. And now that everybody's back, it's a little more stressful managing all the moving parts, but we're in a great place now. So I need to get back. To my 4-mile walks. You little bit of meditation.
At least you've recognized it.
I do.
You know, so sometimes I feel like, at least me in my, previous years, I would just keep going despite knowing and feeling that it was time to like, okay, I need to give myself a little love here. What am I going to do to bring myself back aligned versus just like grind.
Yes. Yeah. Something's got to give here and there.
Right.
I'm always looking for a new maybe exercise. Last year it was bar, and I was really into bar. I kind of fizzled out of the bar in the spring because I bought this house and, couldn't make it in the morning because I was meeting contractors at 7 a.m. and, but
it's hard.
I'll get back.
You'll figure this out.
I'll find it out.
You'll figure this out. Yeah. It's hard because we put that word should on ourselves all the time. And sometimes it just takes give ourselves a little grace to say, it's okay. Like take a pause to figure it out. Right.
And having 3 kids, I have a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, and my youngest is now 10. Your priorities kind of change, right?
Yeah.
So another thing is I kind of don't want to leave early in the morning because I love getting my daughter on the bus, right?
Oh.
And my boys out the door. So my time now is definitely more, any kind of free time is more spent kind of going to my son's basketball game or watching my daughter dance, whatever that looks like. So that's certainly a huge priority too. So.
Sounds to me like a good reason to be spending mornings with them as you're figuring that all out. I really feel like your parents and your family, I mean, you talked about it with your parents and your grandparents supporting you and your family supporting you, that there's this deep sense of values that you have gotten from them that also, again, translate into this Trust the Pineapple branding that you have, this storytelling. Is there anything else in there that you want to comment on?
As soon as it comes to talking about my parents or my grandparents, I get emotional.
I love it. I can see you tearing up.
Which is crazy.
Oh, no. It's beautiful.
Has anyone ever cried on your podcast before?
I think you're my first.
Oh, my. Of course I'm your first. I think I just grew up with so much love and hard work. The most humblest of means. So I think achieving what I've achieved, like when I started out, again, it was just like pay the bills, pay off your student loans, right? Put a little money away. I think achieving what I've achieved and being able to use that gift essentially to help other people now, it goes so far back in my lineage.
Yeah.
So I almost wish my grandparents were here. But yeah.
Your authenticity is shining through, and
thank you.
Thank you. I can tell you live this gratitude and deep
I really
love.
do. Every day.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And I feel like that's what you're giving your customers and the people you're working with,
Absolutely.
right? You're giving them helping them love it, because buying a home is the biggest purchase of most people's lives,
Sure.
right?
Besides that, I actually, kind of scaled the business a few years ago, and I work with only sellers personally. But like one of the biggest gifts is to sit down at someone's kitchen table and hear their life story.
Yeah.
And why, like I'll say to people, why have you loved it here so much? Like, tell me what you've loved so much about it. Can you imagine sitting down with a woman that raised her children, that's been in a home for 50 years?
Yeah.
There's so much she has to say, and maybe not too many people that are around to listen,
You're almost providing like therapy through the process.
I mean, I've been a therapist for I always say the only thing I can't do is prescribe meds. I mean, that's it. If I could, chef's kiss, right?
Is there a theme for people when they love their home? Is there something like a universal human? I know you've talked about having human insights because being with people in this journey. Is there any sort of what is the old woman telling you about the house when she's telling, or the young family, depending on who they are? Is there any story that you've had that is just like heartwarming?
There's so many.
Okay.
I mean, there's people that have hosted weddings in their backyards,
Yeah.
Just the parties in the old like 70s basements, with the leather sofas in the bars. If it's in South Philly, probably the best party ever. It just depends on what it is, what kind of home it is. Sometimes those stories follow suit location-wise, right?
Yeah.
If it's a big mainline estate, yeah, of course. There's probably been 6 weddings on the property. Just hearing the stories is awesome, and just being that listener. I always say the most successful people in sales, again, across the board, any industry in sales, are the ones that can listen.
Mm-hmm. Is there something about working with sellers that you love the most versus just like
That's
just
a great
part
question.
of the process
Yeah,
that you enjoy?
Yes, I'm very detailed. I'm creative, so it gives me kind of this outlet. I can walk in somewhere and be able to paint a picture in my head right away of exactly how it should look before we go to market, and then managing all of the things that have to happen to make it look that way.
So you have like a vision of
Absolutely.
You go in, you could have the vision to help
Very
them.
strategic, but I'm not frazzled by dealing with contractors or, picking paint colors or management. I thrive in a management, when it comes to managing.
Yeah,
So,
and I would imagine, even from my own home selling experience, is just like we accumulate a lot of things in our homes, and
so many things.
Yeah, I bet you there's some coaching on how to just help people get ready to have the next person vision being there.
I'm lucky because I've built such a great kind of team of resources too.
That's great.
People that are, they'll be over in a half an hour if I need them to, whatever the need is, whether it's an electrician, a contractor, a organizer, a packer, you name it. So that's been great.
Love that. So my sister fairly well, and now me, and our family heritage is
unbelievable.
My father's from Norway.
Yes.
My mom is I think she's an Irish German. Anyway, she's mixed descent. And anyway, you were telling me that your family is Irish, German, Greek, and Italian.
Yes.
That sounds like a really fun combination. And
It is.
since we're talking about family and family values, like, tell me something
That's
fun that comes out
of
of
where
that.
the tears
That's where
came
the tears
from.
came from.
All this passion. Yeah, no, my maternal grandmother was Greek, and my maternal grandfather was Italian. His best one-liner was he always thought he was marrying a Greek goddess, and she ended up being a goddamn Greek. So, but they had, these little things that I remember from childhood, but they were just passionate and loving, the best people. And then on the other side, my grandfather unfortunately passed away before I ever met him. My dad's dad, he was 45.
Oh.
I feel connected to him. Well, I'll get to that. And then my paternal grandmother lived till her 90s, and I knew her very, very well, my dad's mom. But she was widowed. She was only 42 when he passed.
Wow.
But the irony is we're in a home right up the street from where they lived and where my dad grew up. So I'd like to think that my grandmother, Kitty, is kind of looking down.
Yes.
Because we bought pretty much like one of the largest homes in the neighborhood that she loved so much. And widowed at 42. They were business owners. They were kind of like steam fitter, HVAC business. She ended up having to sell it, but she was able to stay in her home. So
it's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was probably a great example of resilience.
She
and
was
grit
and so graceful.
Yeah, love that.
Very quiet, better listen. Always listening. I don't want to say better listener than talker, but just the best listener. Always the best sound, calm advice.
Wow, great role model.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Is there any, like we're talking about your family, talking about all these like super interesting things. Is there any like hard chapter? And I know you've shared a little bit of your struggles, but anything else that stands out, like a chapter or a lesson that you've learned from your journey? Share us those.
My biggest challenge is one of my children, who has quite a few different diagnoses. My Wesley is 15 now. He, he is on the spectrum. He has epilepsy, which is a new diagnosis that we just got in August. He's needed a heart surgery. He's always had different things. He has an arachnoid cyst on his brain that we discovered when he was 2, So I think going through all of Wesley's things has made me so much stronger.
Oh, yeah.
And given me such a perspective, on life. I have no time to BS. Very direct with love. Everything I do, I think he made me who I am. They all did. Mm-hmm. But being his mom has pushed me to a certain level within myself. And it's given me a confidence because at the end of the day, that's the hardest thing. Right? Being their mom, is hard. Being anybody's mom. But work is my therapy in a way, right? It's like being their mom is my therapy because that's the love. And then going to work is therapy because that's like a different kind of, resource to keep me busy and keep me going.
Hear the passion in what you do aligned with who you are. And I feel that same way about the work that I do, that when you're lined up with what your passion is, it just doesn't feel like work. It feels like so much more. Mm-hmm. Not that we don't have to, there are not times where it is work. And I believe that you can have such love through hard work, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sounds like your son Wesley has really shown you, and you've turned something that could be devastating into like a superpower, a strength.
He's just
next
got
level.
the best attitude.
That's awesome.
The cards have always been stacked against him, but he is the most positive, loving, resilient. I mean, he's one of a kind. Fantastic. I'm blessed because all of my children are special in different ways. My oldest is an old soul. He came out of the womb and he was like, an old pop-up. He doesn't say much. He's a listener for sure. He's very bright. He's taught me a lot because him and I are very, very different, right? Mm-hmm. I'm completely out there and Wyatt is the total opposite. But what I've learned is that's okay, right? He's teaching me every day to adjust and adapt. And I can't wait to see what he ends up doing, to be honest.
Fun.
He's a junior in high school. And then my daughter is just a bright, shiny light in our lives.
Sounds wonderful.
So, yeah.
Lots of love.
Lots of love.
Yes. So if you were to kind of think about like right now, and actually, so one of the things you share in common with some of the work we do at American Crane, we have something called the Hoist Up Outreach that my sister works on. Where we believe about, giving back to the community. And that's such a win, for those who are involved, but for the community. There's so many great things that come out of it. And you actually do a ton of community outreach as well. If you want to share a little bit about that and why you do it. And for me, I feel so blessed again to be like that yes person. If someone needs something, my answer is yes. And I think most of the people in our community know that. Mm-hmm. I rarely say no to giving, whether it's a charity or sponsoring an event, whatever it looks like, I'm always going to say yes if it's a good cause. I created and manage with a nice little team behind me, the May Soiree, which is a great fundraiser we do every spring. Nice. Each
year we take a different foundation. We have the whole event for them, raise as much money as we can. It's really fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to putting another one of those in place. This would be our 4th year. We moved, so I'm like, can I do it this year? We just filled in a pool and we don't have a patio, so I'm like torn. Do I skip a year?
Figure it
out. But I'm going to figure it out. Yeah. But it's a huge community event. Everyone is welcome. And it's just wonderful to be able to put it all together. Well, and I really enjoy it.
Fills your cup. It sounds like.
It really does. It does.
Is there, in your word, we like to talk about always lifting as the podcast here. Mm-hmm. In your word, what do you think it means to lift people?
To lift people is to, I would say, listen to where they're at in their life, listen to what they have to say probably, and help to elevate them. Like when, if I'm looking at my team and someone that works on my team and I meet with them and I kind of hear what they're going through, whether it's personal or professionally, try to really figure out what the core is, like listen to what they have to say, figure out what the core of the issue might be, and then offer them solutions and advice on maybe how I would go about, changing whatever it is. But I would say, be a good listener. I think there's just so much information at all of our fingertips, but I still think like that personal connection one-on-one is huge.
Yeah.
I don't know how much people get that anymore.
Well, and you're in such a connection business.
Yeah.
So I feel like giving that to your people, emulating that, helping them grow. I always like to say, be a gardener. It then it's also teaching them how to do that with the people they're working with. I mean, it's so many crisscrosses.
Total crisscross. I mean, just listening to what people need and then knowing how to help them. Yeah.
Is there anything that's lifting you right now? Like what, as far as you personally, like, are you, it could be a book. I don't know. But you said you're looking at new fitness thing. I don't know. What's lifting Erica
What's
right
lifting
now?
me? I think what's lifting me right at this moment is finally feeling like the home that we moved into is ours. Feeling proud of where I got it and just so excited to have the holidays and time with my kids and my husband, and just friends and family hosting.
I can imagine you have great family gatherings.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. It's the moments for me. My aunt said it best this summer. I was like mourning our old home because I loved it so much.
Is that a thing? Do people probably mourn?
Well, I don't know.
I feel like my husband's
Because
been mourning our old home, and I love our new home. But...
Okay. I was shocked that I had this sadness.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And the people we sold our old home to, they're just the most lovely. Like this woman had to have my home. It was her home.
Right.
I built it for her, basically, is how I feel. She texted me a week ago. She was putting up all of her garlands and she's like, thank you so much for having the hooks. Exactly. I'm like, honey, like, of course the hooks I got it down to a science, but no, I think the process of us moving really humbled me and made me appreciate my clients that much more. Because I'm just like, come on, you're doing great. Let's keep pushing forward. But there is a little sadness, I think, when you leave one place and go to another. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because you're doing this process for other people, but yet then you were just in this process yourself, right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Any other great human insights that you've learned from your time working with people and real estate? Anything else that stands out in your mind?
Human insights.
Or any advice? Somebody's getting ready to... Let's say you're working with sellers, like getting ready to sell their home, things to think about.
Yeah. I think my best insight is something that I had to, tell myself the last few months. It's not the house. It's not the walls. It's the people. It's the people. It's the moments. I was, going to say that before. This summer, my aunt said, it's not the house. It's the moments. It's all the moments within the house. So I think, and that probably goes for everything, is just the connection that you have with other people, and letting that kind of drive you. Yeah.
Fun. So fun. Well, so many things that we share and perspectives. Is there any other thoughts you'd like to leave anyone tuning in today with, or advice, fellow business owners, or just people leading in life, or having kids, or dealing with difficulties?
Think you always have to trust your instincts. You have to have a drive within yourself, right? Depending on what your goals are. Sometimes you get into something and you don't even know what your goals are, but your goal should be to be better tomorrow than you were today, for sure. And I always say, in a competitive business like real estate, compete with yourself. Try to keep, you have to know what's going on in the peripheral, but you want to stay very focused on what your goals are. And that will drive you every day. And just be kind. The kinder you are to other people and the more giving you are, don't hold your knowledge and your experience within yourself, share it with other people. It literally will come back to you, 100-fold, really. So that's what I would say. And don't give up. That's,
such great words.
There's a reason why you started, right? Don't give up before you finish.
There's so many great quotes that success is just, trying one more time, right? Comes to the person who just doesn't give up and keeps going despite all the obstacles that might show up.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
So fun. Thank
you.
you
You're
for
welcome.
sharing your story
Thank
with us today.
Thank you.
Such grit, authenticity, creativity. I mean, everything you said really deeply resonates with me. And, you really remind us as well that you can have connection, community, heart, you can be kind, and that can be part of your success as a business.
Absolutely.
And you do a wonderful job of storytelling that. I think it's so important for storytelling our families, our values, but also storytelling your customers and employees, building that culture. Really, really beautiful. So you're lifting people with your energy, your courage, and your pineapple magic.
Thank you.
It's incredible to witness.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Selling a home can be stressful for anyone, but it's easy to see why so many trust the pineapple and Erica's team. Her dedication and care shines in her work, and her passion for her family is inspiring. For a link to Erica's team, see the show notes below. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and be sure to always lift.